just a minute to record the meeting, but there are people trying to join us as well. Yeah, and people. Here. Someone must join the meeting. Let's see here. Ragnar seems to be trying to join the meeting, but I do not get the proper request in the system. Just a minute. Hello, Ragnar? Já, en það kemur, það sko maður fær request inn á að fá það til mín og það eru komnir nokkrir en það virðist ekki berast sko. En ég sé að þú ert að reyna að tengjast sko. Það kemur svona svo. Já, það ekki bara að prófa það. This was Ragnar. He's trying to join us.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him in Icelandic, so you got some lesson in Icelandic. But anyway, I want to. Ragnar wants to join. I do not seem to. There is something. Oh, okay. Here it is. Here we are. I admit that Ragnar, he should be here.
Ah, there he's Ragnar. Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, Ragnar.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. He fell out again?
So what we were thinking to do is to record some of these meetings and with an image. And so we can discuss in those recordings. Hi, Ragnar, how are you? Open your mic. And then we can discuss some topic or a couple of topics, and then you will be able to get it with the whole explanation. Because I know that it's very frustrating that you come to the meetings and then one is coming in and the other one is coming out and the sun goes down and then you feel, what happened? I have been spending 1 hour there and nothing much. And it's not your fault. It's that it's complicated what we do. We are trying to reach several countries at the same time. And we know that still the communications are difficult because the networks are not reliable. And with your device to organize the audiovisual and all that is not steady. And I think that will help because then on the basis of whatever we have discussed, you could also record some videos with your comments or with your viewpoints or with your own report. And then we can exchange this type of things that will be more accurate, more reliable. Because the recordings are quite sort of steady and easy to hear. If you record with your phone or in a place that is not too noisy, they will come across well. And then that can give us the base to progress, because if we don't produce an accumulation of information, of knowledge, of technology, psychological technology, of techniques that we can practice properly and we can pay attention to how do we feel about them, etc., then our progress together is low. And it's very important that you yourselves, as a more permanent participants in these meetings, that you start to have a clear picture of some of the works that we propose, because that will help you to explain it to other people that you are in contact with. You can explain with clarity, they can understand with clarity, they can give the feedback. And in that way, we will move to another level, our exchanges and our learning from one another. That is what we want. Why should we be depending on the bad quality of the communications? It's not something that we can control. And in this way, yes, we will be able to control it. And we continue progressing. And then we will try to organize, let's say, once a month, a sort of meeting where we have gone through the weekly materials. And if you congregate in a place that you can guarantee that the communications will be more steady, then we can exchange one another, but very specific things that we have been doing in the previous weeks. Not just asking, how are you? How is the weather? How is this? How is that? Because in that way, we don't move forward.
Yes, yes,
Yes. And so it's a practical plan. I think we can
yes,
benefit from that.
yes. Thank you very much, Antonio. This is a very good general explanation about why we are doing those meetings.
Yeah.
And I can add a little bit, and that is from this particular meeting that we say here that in this meeting we will uh, place special importance on the development of humanist education and training for the younger generations, sharing experiences of such humanist educational projects in the various African countries. And then also, as usually, we look together at the future of the Humanist Forum in its humanizing process. And also, we try to put what we are doing in context of the worldwide development of the humanist movement and the geopolitical development that exists. So I want to, and now I'm going to add someone to the meeting. Just a minute. Who's here? Yes, yes. There should be two coming more. But having said this, I want to talk to you, Antonio, if you could like give us some overview as to how this what we are doing, how about the development of the African Forum, where we are going, and the context in the worldwide scene.
Yeah, we think that is a very, talking in international terms, it's a very auspicious time for Africa as a whole, because the big powers in the world, well, China has been doing it for some time, opening up, because the Silk Road, the projects of economic development, they have been investing in infrastructure. They have good relations with most countries, and they want to increase the investment and help in whichever way they come, because they have a different vision, the Chinese people, and they have an important influence in the world today. But also the war in Ukraine has brought very closely Russia and China and India and Indonesia and the countries that they call the BRICS, including South Africa. And they had the last BRICS conference, that they are these sort of non-allied countries, that in a way they are such a strong bloc that they are competing very effectively against the Europeans and the Americans that have been traditionally the manipulators of all the world order. Now there is a counterbalance, and that is very positive because, for example, today I read that the African Union has been invited to be a permanent member of G20. G20 is a group of developed nations, including United States, Canada, United Kingdom, and all those, and also less developed countries like Germany, Italy, France. So it's a conglomerate, is the club of the white Western powers that have been ruling the rest for lots of years. And now then, by inviting the African Union to be a permanent member of G20, that means that the representative of African countries in the Union will be equal partners of all these other clubs, where traditionally they have not been able to participate. So we can see that the trend is that Africa as a whole is getting a more prominent role in international politics, and therefore more attention is being placed to stability in Africa, development in Africa, plans of education that will be offered, to different parties in different proportions, and the problems of immigration also into some of the European countries. They have been they will need to be managed in different manners. So it's a very auspicious time where Africa as a continent is attracting the attention and the real interest, not only of the traditional European countries, but also from Asians and the rest of the world community. And the Americans now they realize that unless they are very considered and very respectful of the different African nations, they cannot dictate terms anymore. They have to follow a different book of rules in the relationship. And that will be beneficial because we'll open up more possibilities of development, more opportunities, more real economic development. And when that happens, societies become more affluent and education improves, employment improves, etc. So we are starting a decade, at least a decade, the next 15, 20, 30 years will be a very important time for Africa to be recognized as one of the main partners in the world. Will be the Europeans, the Africans, and the Asians, and the Americans, that we know that club because they have been in control for too long. But at least here we are physically closer because Africa is linked to Europe, is linked to the Middle East, is linked to Asia. So geographically, we have an advantage. The others are in an island there in the South Atlantic, and well, they have to behave. And as for South America, is following again a process of gradual integration. They are in the process of resolving conflicts among themselves and establishing an institutionality amongst all the different countries where they become more integrated and more coherent in the policies, because the Americans before were preying on them, organizing a revolution here, bringing down a government there, putting a dictator somewhere else, and that was complete chaos. And that stage seems to be over. So we can anticipate in Latin America. I am from Latin America, so I know very well the story. And in Latin America also, we are moving into a different stage. And that is auspicious because it is the beginning of a different moment in the world development. The world is becoming one place. All the nations in the world are becoming one nation. That is what we aspire, the universal human nation, where every human being, everywhere, will need to have the human rights recognized, the rights to work, the rights to education, the rights to health, the rights to all the average conditions in this world of that is has reached a level of development in material terms as never before in humanity. But the resources are very badly distributed. They are concentrated in the hands of very few, and the large majorities are deprived of fundamentals. And that has to change. And there are countries that are very conscious that that has to change. And the association of the BRIC countries is very aware, very conscious, and they want to change that world order to make it more just and more even for everyone. That is what I see in terms of geopolitics and in terms of the immediate future. Of course, if you look now, instead of having a global vision, you start to look closer, and we were just talking to Trigger and what is happening in Cameroon. There is again a coup d'etat, there are tensions, there are factions, there is always a condition of civil war. But in the overall, because the atmosphere is improving and there is lots of international attention to establish calm and order in Africa, that most of these problems will get settled because nobody will be able to run the show by themselves. And that is auspicious as well. So in that context, we have to prepare for the future. And we have to prepare for the future by adopting a new way of thinking of ourselves as human beings, as individuals, and what are the conditions of the world that we want to help to build together. And what are the minimal bases? What are the human rights that have to be upheld and respected everywhere? And what is the type of formation and teachings and exchanges that we want to share with everybody in society around us? That's why it's very important to be able to develop some education in your villages, in the places where you are developing your activities, because that will be the process of formation of the youngsters, and they will be able to blend in the world of the future very well. And also, we humanists have lots of techniques and exercises for personal development, for psychological development, where we can overcome violence within ourselves, because we can learn to identify the sources of contradiction within ourselves, and change our view about it, and be able to explore our minds and discover, and our hearts, and discover what are the conflicts, the fears, the difficulties that we find, and gradually we'll be able to integrate those type of conflicts, and we'll have much more free energy for our own transformation of the world around, and for our own development as persons. So it's positive, it's win-win. Everything is beneficial, because a human being in the future has to be in control of himself or herself fully, with a good understanding of what they want to do, and trying to avoid, therefore, the diversions. If we have lots of conflicts within ourselves, we may think one thing, we may feel something different, and we end up doing something completely different. And that is chaos, individually and for the people around us. And so if we are studying our own development, and at the same time we are acting in the environment to change it positively, we will feel great. And the people around us will be very inspired and very happy. So that is a plan, that is a project. And that's why we want to form a forum, an African forum, a regional forum, where we can sit with organizations, countries, representatives of education, representatives of politics, representatives of health, representatives of building and development, all the different facets of society. We can sit together and we can establish priorities. We can establish a common language, and we can agree upon what are values that need to prevail, whatever the case, where the human being is at the center of any project. Not money, not beliefs, not ideologies, not any other thing. The human being and his or her fundamental needs. And there is no way to go wrong in that manner. And that has never happened in human history before. So really, that is the future, what we think.
No,
And
wonderful. Mm,
Thank you very much. And Trigger, please, and the others. I think that having listened to Antonio, it could be good to have a question and answer or putting an opinion to share what you think about what he has been talking about. So feel free, anyone, to tell your mind
Yeah,
and feel trigger.
yeah,
Yeah, please.
like Sir Antonio said, it's really true that we endeavor and try by all means to see that we put the human being at the center of everything we do, which is really important because in our environment today we find difficulties. People just dehumanize themselves and all the rest, which is not what the world is supposed to look like. And we find this difficulties because we notice that even the surrounding where we live, people don't care. They just do things the way they want to do, which is not so. Child violations and all the rest all over our community. It is a really big problem to us. Most especially here in Africa, you just need to do what you like, which is not so. But we have a law and a constitution which governs the country or the society, but people don't abide to it. They take laws into their hands on a daily basis without any judgment being held for they are not being held for their crimes, which is really bad. And it comes down to this aspect where you will even deprive a child or someone from going on with their daily activities as they all wish to. Because from there, from those little things we do back at home, from there we build the strength of the country and the community as well. But if we can't do it at that given time, you see there is a drift in growth. Why? Because when every season comes with a change. Yeah, for example, I can say last year is not the same as this year. Most especially the month of last year, there has been a big change because there is heavy downpour. People don't go out for work anymore. Yeah, they only stay indoors, try to see what to do. And for those who have managed to save up, they use the money that they have saved up to help themselves, go through this period before the dry spell comes again. So it's really cumbersome sometimes. And I'm just so happy that the G20 is introducing or giving an open hand or an invite for the African Union so we can be fully part of the world because
Exactly.
from the onset it has always been like Africa is the dark continent, which is not so. Africa is a great continent and I love Africa so much, so as I love America, Europe, and Asia too. Thank you all.
Excellent. Yeah, very good. Thank you. Is we can become in the proportion that we develop in numbers and in understanding of the ideas that we uphold, we can become a mechanism of accountability within our societies, be the village level, be the city level, be the national level or the regional level, because the humanist, in a non-violent way, will be able to visualize the problems, explain the problems, and denounce the problems. So those that come to conspire against the well-being of the people, the common people, will be denounced and will be uncovered. And then the greed and the corporations and all the powers that negotiated in the back of the people will be shown as they are. And therefore, if we can develop that function everywhere, because the humanists have a clear view of what the future is and what are the fundamental needs of everyone, then we will be able to reverse those things. And we trust only in what we can do, and that makes us very free because we will not depend on monies, we will not depend on any other thing, and that is very powerful. And little by little, we'll be creating different conditions everywhere.
May I also comment, please?
Absolutely.
Yes, I think for us we need to understand the fundamental of a human being. The reason as to why I'm saying this, most parts of this world, there are some violation of human rights. We as the humanists, it's good that we have want to come together so that we can teach the people on how to live in the world. At the same time, I can also see violation of gender violations. That also we need also to discuss about that, and
Yeah.
I'm very much happy that we are going to cover this as we are going to come together as a group and discuss this. I think we will manage, and each part of the world, I think, will at the end of the day, it will come to have that word, and they should know what a humanist is all about. Thank you.
Excellent. Very well said.
Okay.
Thank you, Walter.
Ragnar has raised a hand, wants to say something. Please, welcome,
hi.
Ragnar.
Hi. So,
Hi.
seems to be in and out. I don't know what is happening. Okay, something. I have a problem. I'm falling out, in and out, in and out. But there came something up. I had my daughter somewhere, so I have to leave you very soon. I'm very sorry about that, but I see you recording the meeting, so I can see it later on. But I'm very happy to see so many people here. I see Tracy is here and Apple Zero, of course, and Marika. I managed to, I found out that I managed to make Apple Zero and Tracy admin, so they can add some people. And if someone want to become an admin, I can make them admin at the African Human Forum group. I see Judy, one Dia is here. I'm very happy to see her. She is from Kenya. She has been very active with us. Happy to see you here. I'm very sorry I have meeting. I'm coming out to talk with my daughter. Beatrice, this is my daughter in Kenya. I'm very happy to see her there too. And I know that everybody else will take very good care of him now, but I'm very sorry I have to leave you now. I will watch the recording of the meeting when I come back tonight. And if there is anything, just send me a message. Peace
Perfect,
for
Ragnar.
for
Take care.
all of you.
You too, huh? Cheers.
Thank you. Okay.
I have
So,
some 2 minutes. I will be here 2 minutes and I leave. If Judy or Beatrice want to introduce themselves.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, Beatrice.
I don't know whether you might want to see me, but I'm okay speaking.
Yeah,
Without
we can see you better. We see your picture for now.
yeah.
okay, it's in the evening and I'm in the comfort of the house. But anyway, yes, I'll switch on the camera in a minute. So about, I love this discussion, and especially to say that I would have been here last week, but I was traveling and I had a very nasty connection, so I couldn't join then. But I love that you've mentioned the change of world order, and it begs to highlight a conversation I had with a person sometime 2 years ago in regards to Kenya being the center of the resistance back in 1950s and the change of world order in that century. So now that we're headed in a new century, is it a good thing for Kenya and Africa, or is it generally a bad thing, and maybe like a lift, of the veil in the eyes of Africans, that we have been vulnerable before, and that things are now going to, all the focus now is going to be on Africa as the bride. It's like everyone wants to do something with Africa, and how necessarily is it like a change of the lies of what we always knew to Africans gaining their sovereign mental independence, or what is it really? Because at one point people are hysterical. Yeah, people are saying it's the end of times, like what happened in the early 2000s. And on the other side, people are observing that it's actually a good thing. How do we come to meet in the middle and explain to communities in our grassroots that what is happening is actually a good thing for Africa, both spiritually and maybe the death of some other old things and old habits. And I see in my indigenous community the question of religion and its place in our society is highly challenged. So, does religion exist to challenge the world order, or does religion exist to uphold the values of the world order? I think that's something that should come out very clear. So maybe just get your assertions and views on that. Yes, it's raining heavily, so yeah, on the background.
Those are very good questions. I mean, and probably nobody knows completely the answers. We are based in the power of the human beings, and religions in the past, although the doctrines sound very positive and constructive because they seem to be a channel to contact the most profound and divine in the human beings. But in the centuries, religions have become associated to the established powers, and in the end, have been part of the structure of power. And the structures of power have oppressed the people. But nobody can deny, for example, that there are lots of charitable activities that have taken place for many years in Africa, in Latin America, etc. There are many charitable Christian groups of different denominations who have done education, who have created hospitals, who have supported the people in different manners, and many times contributing fundings from communities in their own countries of origin, in the United States, in Europe, and etc. But often also these congregation, these communities have been there to support the interest of the countries of origin. I know very well how the work of the charities is done, for example, in the United Kingdom. They are partners of the interests and the agendas of the central government. And if a particular religious denomination have strong influence in a certain community or in a certain country, they also receive the pressures from the central government through their authorities in the countries to implement a certain agenda in certain terms. And very often also they release information that is very private information in relation to activists within the congregations or the communities where they are, that end up with the secret services of the country of origin. All these type of things. So it's a soft association, charitable, no doubt. They do significant good work and support, but we want really to empower people, and we want to be people themselves, organized and with the right support from central governments to be able to do what is better for themselves, instead of giving little pieces of charity here and there that in the end do not tackle or solve the problem of the real problems, and just prolong the situation where whole communities keep tumbling and tumbling without never reaching the final point of solution. So that is considerations we have. I am not denying or downplaying the importance of all these groups of denominations, but there are certain conditions that need to be met. And for people to have their own beliefs and to participate in different religions is absolutely fine, because you will see that all the cultures have also religious systems under which they have developed. The Europeans are fundamentally Christians because they launched missions with the colonization into Africa. Also, Christianity has developed to an extent in Africa, but also the traditional, the ancient religions of Africa have remained. So there is a combination of references for the people here and there. You continue paying attention to the elderly of your region, of your village, etc., and at the same time to the priest, what is saying this or that, and people are finding their own ways, their own balance. So it's interesting, but the interest of whatever is the role of religion should be the priorities of the human beings. And that changes a bit the equation. You are religious and you want to practice, fair enough. But what happens with education? What happens with health? And not as donations, as our own rights that we exercise. And you have to support that. And if that requires to changing the priorities of the governments and the structure of the cabinet, and well, you change whatever is required. But people need to have the resources and to be able to take their own decisions and to tackle the problems as a community in the way that they see fit. So it's a discussion that is as you were saying, extremely interesting and very lively, and it would be very interesting to see each other's viewpoints. And we never say for people to give up the beliefs or to stop practicing whatever they are doing. I mean, as religious people, but really without forgetting that every human being is in essence a free living being with his own or her own necessities, whatever the cults and whatever the religious practice, etc., etc. So it's in the end is something that each one has to find, and obviously religions will go changing as societies. In Latin America, it came to the moment where people were not going to church. Young people, the people that traditionally were packing churches on Sundays, they stopped going, and churches were empty. And the same thing happens in the United Kingdom. Lots of churches are being sold for real estate development, and they make apartments in the church. There were churches everywhere in the city. You go on a Sunday, probably will be one mass in the morning of a Sunday, maximum two, and the rest of the week nothing. You go to the church. If you want to pray yourself, you go and pray, but nothing happened. The community does not participate in other days. So the interest on the established religions from that viewpoint is dwindling, is diluting. So something is happening with the individual, of course. And so the religions, they have to adapt, and then they have to go to what people want, and they promote other sort of community activities in some of the churches and all that. And I suppose that something similar will continue happening in Africa. So that is, but let's see and let's discuss more, because it's otherwise I am just saying myself. It's an important topic, no doubt.
Thank you, Antonio. So there are some that have not voiced their opinion or putting forward what they think about the topic, what Antonio has brought up, this humanizing process of the humanist movement that we are following up and want to learn to develop according to the places and the cultures everywhere. So someone wants to say his or her view. Yes, Trigger, you raised a hand, and then it's
Yeah,
next. Yes.
Like Ma'am Beatrice earlier said, that's true, because I noticed that from the forum that I recently created, And when I'm elaborating, for I don't know if everyone here has seen the video where I was doing out just a brief explanation on what the humanist movement is all about. You know, some people were like, yeah, hope is not based only on a particular Christianity domain or whatsoever, but there was a clear and a straightforward description there, because it's based on everybody, yeah, not just some particular people or a particular gender, but irrespective of racial ethnicity. So that's just the aim. And I'm happy he earlier mentioned about it, because most people feel like normally belonging to a domain of this sort, or they feel like it's entitled to a particular branch of something, like, you know, religious or whatsoever. Meanwhile, it's not so. Yeah, because I, for one, I believe if you are religious, yeah, it's good. You decide where to stand. Yeah, and if you are joining a forum like this, it means you are ready to move forward. It takes everybody, it includes everybody from every background. So thank you.
Great,
Thank you
very
very much,
great.
Trigger. So,
I apologize. I'll have to go now because I have another meeting. I just at 7
okay,
UK.
okay.
But it's fantastic that we can record what we say, and then we can be able to receive the speeches or the opinions very clearly, and will hold more robust conversations in the future, where we can build up on the what we have built in every meeting, and we'll be able to share more practices and more theory about the human psyche that is extremely useful to apply in our day-to-day lives. Okay, take care, and it's very nice meeting you. And
Uh,
sorry to speak so much.
Yeah, no, thank you, Antonio. This has been a very constructive and important contribution, and also taken that you have been with the humanist movement from the
For some time.
day one, day one in Punta de Vargas in
Yeah,
the Andes Mountains.
that's right.
So you have it, you know, you have it in your bones.
Take
No,
care, you all. A big hug. Huh?
yes,
Cheers.
thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye, bye bye. So, Pride had raised an hand. Pride, would you like to tell us something? You are muted. Yes.
It has been a long time since I joined you, but I'm very happy today I'm talking to you. I am Bright from Kenya. Kenya. So what I can say about the humanist movement is that in today life, people are fighting to join forces to become one thing. And if you may narrow down and look at the things that make people to separate or people to have different opinion, I am happy you have discussed them. Let me mention just in a brief, like religion. We have different religion. For example, in Kenya, even where I stay, we have those who are Christian, we have those who are Muslim. Even if you move to town, you can find those who are Hindus. There are some beliefs that the Muslim have, some beliefs that the Christian have. Sometimes we bring collision. Sometimes you can find two people are arguing because of certain things. A Muslim is taught something different, a Christian is taught something different. So when they come together in they cannot make an agreement together. You'll find most of the time they differ. Otherwise, in Africa, we are trying as much as possible to ensure that we humanize the world so that people may live in unity, so that people may live knowing that you do for other what you expect it to be done to you. So I want just to let us just put our hands together, because in unity is strength. So let us ensure that we work hard, and let us be friend to others. When you be a friend to somebody, somebody is going to tell you something that is secret, which he or she has never told anyone. So let us ensure that we put our hands together And I do believe that when we join our forces together and we work together as a union, we are going to humanize the world. Thank you very much for the opportunity you have given.
Thank you, Bright. This was very, very nice input and very constructive. Then, if some that have not expressed themselves yet, please feel free to put your contribution, because we are nearing to the end of the meeting, since the 1 hour is about to pass. But please, if we can have some short, synthetic, but really that what you want to say can be included. So, like Abel, Tracy, Alfayo, please. Alfayo raised a hand.
Yeah. Today I'm a bit silent because I've not joined you guys for some time, but I like the discussion that is taking place. One thing I know is that in everything there is also a pioneer. What the humanitarian is doing right now, they're trying to pioneer in putting the world together and putting everybody together. As someone mentioned earlier, there need to be sensitization about what is really happening, because as my brother Bright has just mentioned, there's a way people perceive things. Yeah, when you talk about the humanism, they don't really understand what it is unless they are sensitized and explained to what it really means and what it's bound to achieve. Then it becomes difficult for people to, because of the faith that they are in. There are people who are Muslims, who are Hindus, who are Christians, those who are atheists, they have their own beliefs. So there is need for sensitization of exactly what humanism is all about. And once they get to understand what it's all about, then it is easier to make the world the one thing we want to do. The only challenge is how to do it, how to go about it. That's the biggest challenge that is there. But I believe, as I said earlier, there is always a pioneer. And in a pioneer, like when you are in a farm, you start by slashing and then doing the first digging, the second dig, and then planting. Is a process. So what we're doing right now is like we are slashing, we are removing logs, stones, and blah, blah. It might not be an easy sale, but at the end of the day, we will get to a destination, because once we are united and focused on one thing, we are going to achieve exactly what we want to achieve. So I believe as we join hands together, as my brother Bright has just said, we are going to achieve what we want to achieve. So let's not tire, let's not give up, let's continue holding each other, and in due course, we will get there. Thank you.
Thank you, Alfayo. This was a very good and encouraging contribution. Abel, you please. Abel, you wants to say something? You are muted. You are muted, Abel. You are muted. Yes,
I want to contribute towards the topic of education that we have had today. This is very informative, and based on the presentation that was done by Antonio, I know the insights that we picked from the presentation and on what we are doing as in education in Africa. It is so relevant in terms of what is currently taking place. Those of us who have been in education for long, in terms of we have seen how education has impacted positively on the learners that we have interacted with over the years, and how the principles of humanist has come into play, and what we see take place in the lives of those young people that we have been with. It is something that we will feel is a best practice that can be spread to areas or to those who have really not tested this. This is what the current education lacks. And once we be the people to roll out this one and let it reach other people, it is not that, some people think that maybe when you are practicing this, in the end of the day, maybe in the long run you will get a lot of money out of that. No, it is the impact that you put on your fellow human being in terms of transforming them to be who they should be. Even when we are long gone, they can be able to be the people who can impact on others positively. And that we have seen it, and we believe it's something that is going to continue based on our efforts as the people who are on the ground now, as the people who are listening to what is happening across the world. And the world needs us, me and you. It's our time. It is us to do it. No one is going to do that. It is upon us to impact on others based on what we have learned in this forum. I have a lot to say. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah. No, thank you, Abel, because I want to comment on what you have been saying, that in the build of a humanist movement, as I remember it, I was in Zambia the first time in 2001, some quarter of a century it is since. But actually, we try to explain the phenomena of reciprocity. So reciprocity is really that someone teaches me how to read and write. Now I do this, and I learn how to read and write. Now I have the obligation to teach another one how to read and write. And this is a fantastic, exponential nature of when it starts to grow like that. And also in this way, we are putting in practice, in actual terms, the basic golden rules of the humanist movement and many other schools of thought. Is like treating others like I want others to treat me. So someone treated me to learning to read and write. Now I will treat someone else, teach someone else. So we are in the fundament of human education from what you're saying, Abel. Thank you. So I don't want to take too much time. Tracy, Dorothy, do you want to add something? Yeah, we have some time if we keep things short and synthetic. You are muted. Yeah. Okay, Tracy, please welcome.
I'm absorbing, and if I was to ask, I will ask so many questions, and also things about this world order, things about now. You can see there's revolution like everywhere. Things with humanists, so many questions, because if you see now, you can see South Africa is coming together. They're forming this thing called BRICS. You can see Africans coming together. They say they want to have one leader, one currency, one nation. You can see humanists coming together. They say they want things to be changed. They want the people to start reasoning for themselves. They want people to see a different view from the old view they used to see. They want a better life for the people. My question is, who are we addressing these things to? Are people so comfortable that they don't want to change? Are people willing to help? Are people willing to see the change? Because sometimes you can have a very good idea, you have very good visions, but the people you're talking to, they are not ready to embrace it. And that is what is happening now. You can see, um, we humanists, we've been there for a very long time. And it's not that people don't know what humanist is it about. People have been taught that when you're doing things, you have to be loaded, you must have money. So people like us Kenyans on the ground, if you want to go and discuss something about humanists, they expect after this every discussion you should give them money, or every conference or every function you do, you must give them money. And funny enough, even if you're giving them a training, like you're empowering them, they'll still ask you for money. They're forgetting that what you're teaching them is much more than that money that they want. And also you can find that it's very hard for the people who want to change. If you have a small heart, you can't do these things that we people we are doing unless you're passionate about it, you're ready to spend, you're ready to use your money, you're ready to use your energy, you are ready to use your brain, you are ready to be exploited, you are ready to receive all kind of manners. Because these are people, they are used to a certain type of ways, and you want them to change to have a certain way. And that's why for me I always say children are the best to start with, because the children won't ask you for so many things, and the children will learn from what you're teaching them, and the children will embrace it. So there are so many things that um, are happening, but if we find who are the right people to channel what we want to, then things will just be easy, very easy. I'm not against what people are doing, it's very good, but I'm just trying to encourage someone and to empower them and to tell them, because I've been on this ground. Just as I was saying that the humanist school in Malindi, it's not an easy thing. Even people to volunteer, they'll tell you, will we have food? Will we eat? And that school you are creating for their children. You are in Nairobi, your children won't come to school there, but they'll ask you, will we eat? Okay, we are coming to help you build the school. After that, what? What next? Are we going to be funded? You see, there are so many things, and these things, whoever came with them, I'm sorry to say, it's the missionaries that came with this brainwashing. They used to come, when they come on in the field, they give people a lot of gifts, a lot of money. So they know anything that is charitable, it has money in it, whether you're doing it out of the heart or not out of the heart. So you find it's very hard to do charity in Africa. But I still encourage you people, you just have the good heart that you're having. At the end of the day, you will see the bright tunnel that was dark. Hmm?
Yes, okay. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Tracy. And what you're talking about is very familiar to me. We used to say when we started to build the humanist movement from 25 years ago, then we say, because they thought that we were, the white people were like the dollars on two legs, you know.
Mhm.
So we said to them, we are not bringing you money, we are not bringing you job, or like we are not bringing you fish, and you eat the fish and be hungry again. But we are teaching you how to can make your own rod, your own way of organizing, so you can have food every day by learning how you can work together, and you have to put together your mind and heart in the project. So
Yes.
I think Abel has raised a hand, and then we need to start to be a little bit short, so so we can start towards finishing the meeting. Abel, please. Welcome.
Yeah, I just wanted to uh, put a small highlight in terms of what are the what which clear way forward can we have in terms of this thing comes first. This is what we are going to do collectively, kindly, very fast.
Are you putting forward the question?
Yes, I'm raising a question like, after all this, what next? Do we have what we are? Do we have a program of activity that we can collectively carry out?
Yes, yes. That is the forwarding activity that we are going to get some hold of educational materials and organize how more and more schools will be started, small or big, but we will learn by what we do, you know. So that is the most important, I think. Dorothy, you have not said anything. I think that we would maybe see if Dorothy wants to say something, because now I think we have the more or less the limit. Trigger, you wanted to say something, please.
Yeah. To just elaborate on what Mom Tracy just said, I really feel like she was just like talking through me exactly, because those are the main things that are really focused on the field. Seriously, if you are here like here as we are now, and you are not doing this out of your heart, I bet you won't be here. Because I remember some years back when we started the Humanist Forum, I remember the group from Kenya where I was added. Lots of people are gone long ago, and some go and come back. Why? Because they have that heart. Because it's not really easy. On the field, it's something else. Yeah, people do expect a lot from you. They only know you have to come and give them something. They even the workshops that you create, they still find difficulties in going through them. Why? Because you still have to provide materials and all the rest for them to go through the workshop. I just want to say, yeah, that's true. But in as much as it's from the heart, that's the first thing. When you are doing it from your heart, I believe you will try it by all means. So even after all the struggles and the rest, when materials start coming in, like we say, it's good, because most of the times people really like to see results. Yeah, people really like to see results. They have been asking for so long, what's up? What's going on? Yeah, we have these issues. We really like to, you know, to move forward and see how we can do this big. Yeah. And there are many other people too trying to act and join the forum, but joining it with what mindset? If it's a mindset of coming just to collect, it's something very difficult. No, we can't handle that. But we're trying our best. So it should be a mindset of you giving out. Yeah, you are the first. So you start with you. As you give out, so you receive more. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trigger. Thank you. That was a good input. Dorothy, you want to say something? Beatrice is raising hand. Please, Beatrice.
Yeah, I'll just like to encourage of what we've talked here. I
Yeah,
like the comment which Tracy has bring up.
yeah,
You know, in Kenya, we find that most of the organizations, like the white organization, they came with handouts. So that one has really affected the community work, as Tracy was saying. Anytime you are with people, they expect from you. And I believe that is the reason why, even if you see the wall of which I got this group from, Heart to Art, we have so many people in that wall, but they cannot join here because at the end of the day, they know that there is no stipend which is going to be given. And what I normally say is that when you want to do something, the fewer you are, the better. The few people you have are the people who are going to attract the others, as the way Trigger has said about numbers, and I said people want performance. So with me, I'm very much happy that we are working with people who have the art, yeah, and working for the community. It's not easy because there are people who will have questions, there are people who will be in for it, there are people who come just to know what is happening, there are people who, if they cannot benefit from it, they feel that it's a waste of time. But I know as we are moving on with the program, it will attract more people. And I would like to urge Tracy, who has said that working with small children, it's normally very easy. Because as a teacher who owns a school of a preschool, you find children, whatever you put in their mind, I normally call them an empty flash disk. Whatever you place there is what is going to be done, and that is what they believe in. So with them, they still don't have this thing like we need to have an handout, or is it going to benefit us? So that is the reason why I'm saying that the spirit we have here, me, I love it. And I know we are heading somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorothy. And what you're saying involves in me that I I think that this is a grand idea to start with children, because when they start to do things and they start to give of themselves, they will help others. That they were being helped, they will help others. They will learn the most important lessons of all, is that it is a lie that you will become happy by receiving something. It is a lie. You receive something and you are looking for more to receive. It doesn't make you happy. You become happy when you start the process of your life where you are giving to others, because that gives you happiness and you want to do more of it and you want to repeat it. So that is the humanist soul that we are building in the young generations, and then there will be a different understanding. I could share a chapter of internal landscape where it is Philo writes about exactly these things. I will do. I will circulate. Beatrice, please. Maybe Beatrice will be the last on the list. Please be welcome, Beatrice. You are muted. You have to unmute.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you. And I love the question. So what next? And being a humanist comes with its own levels of servitude. Each and every time in my reflections, ever since 2020, after COVID, or during the COVID time, most of us were forced into isolation. I think everyone in the world was forced into a period of isolation. And when you're left with your brain and your families and all you can go to as the people or the community that has raised you or you found yourself growing in, the question of servitude comes in. And my reflections brought me home to a majority of us young people have gained skills in life to be someone, but the skills you've gained or the professional expertise that you've amassed over time has not necessarily been put in use in the Kenyan market. So it is not by mistake again that a majority of us again find ourselves as people that are supposed to serve humanity. So when I was asking myself this question, why are we not getting jobs? The question came in right there, that while I was doing servitude, community servitude or community organizing as a free time thing, a part-time thing, then it turns out that actually that's where we belong. that Mother Nature is going to be abundant with you. For as long as you give more, you're going to get more. But do not give because you're expecting anything in return.
Yeah,
You are
yeah, yeah.
serving. And most of the time now, the question after serving? Are we being kind to ourselves as people that are put there by humanity or by nature to serve the rest? People that are put there to see things on behalf of the rest. People that are put there to actually uplift and elevate a soul. And we take it upon ourselves to do everything that we can do. And sometimes it is draining. And most of the times it is draining when we fail to achieve our set goals or our envisioned goals in our community organizing. So the question of wellness comes in very strongly, that when you are alone, you're only left with you and your thoughts and what you're going to do about them. So how we recharge and our wellness becomes a very pertinent thing to planting resilience to community work. Remember, no one reimburses you to do what you do and be selfless, but it is again up to you to self-love yourself, to be self-aware, to be self-conscious, to a level that no one can go that mile with you. You have to go through it alone. So finding a community, once you're done with that journey, that can help elevate the culture of wellness and instill the culture of wellness in our community organizing becomes the sole thing in our servitude and in everything else that we do, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. So finding spaces that we can retreat to as humanists, as much as we are out there filling everyone else's cup, we need to go back and recharge. So spaces like this for us as humanists will become very important and very pertinent, because we need to come back and retreat to a space like this to have this most basic conversation and try to demystify the question of what next. So for me, the issue of wellness, mentally, spiritually, holistically, is very important. And it goes a long way if where I'm in, we are able to host that conversation and be in the refilling journey and in the healing journey together, because most of the times, takers will never tell you that is enough. If anything, they'll always be taking. And that is why we get so depleted of our energies when all they can do is ask for money. Is there something for me to be able to do this? And I'm really sorry, and I feel so bad that the NGO culture in our most African nations, like these ones, Ugandans suffered this mostly between 2010 and 2018, 2020, that you couldn't do any community action without people asking for money. So right now in Kenya, it's the culture. And I'm telling you, we mostly get ignored by people within the same sector who are majorly commercial while you are mostly humanitarian. So validating our efforts and crawling back to where we are going to refill each other's cups into wellness is very important. And that goes without saying that resilience is only a mile that you can walk alone and with a few others like you. So we shouldn't feel defeated, but we should feel stronger together. Yes.
Thank you very much, Beatrice. This was a very, very good encouragement and a lot of inspiration in your talk. And I can conclude, I think, by saying that surely we will keep on doing those monthly organizational meetings just to get a broad view of the world and of the bigger aims of the humanist movement. But as Antonio already has voiced, that now we will add this project of education, and in that respect, we will start to add some seminars that will be last half a day or a whole day, and then we go very thoroughly into the content. Yes, we want to do this education for children, but to organize it, to put up the relevant curriculum and all that, this is a work that needs to be done very much specializing on that actual build. So I think we will find a way in working that can make all those good ideas and our dreams of a better situation for all, we will find it. So I greet you with peace, force, and joy to all of you.
Peace, force, and joy to you too.
Okay, so I will now start the proceedings of closing the meetings and the recording properly. Okay.